Hello everyone, this is MykeCheck'd 985 here with another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review. We are now starting off with our second installment of the new Star Wars trilogy, requested by Krieger Margin here. And as I always say, my cohorts here are
Krieger Margin 1
and
Orphan Joker.
So, who would like to go first on this godforsaken movie?
Why'd you say godforsaken?
Michael-
This is so much better than so many movies on the planet. It's just a really bad Star Wars movie.
Michael, why didn't you go first?
No,
Yes, Mike goes first.
no.
You never go first, Michael.
MykeCheck'd 95.
Before I go on, we're reviewing these films as standalone films alone, ignoring the sequels or the prequels in the entire series. Like, we're looking at it as its own identity.
Yes, not how it develops necessarily to the rest of the movies,
So,
but it of and of itself, is it a quality movie?
ignoring the obvious retcons and obvious problems with this film that connects it to the Force Awakens and the Rise of Skywalker, for the film by itself, I feel like that as a Star Wars film by itself, it's average. The only reason why I would say that I have issues with it is because of the connection with the other movies. Because there's like no story connection at all with this, the prequel to this one, and the sequel to this one. But it's just because they're going in a different direction. Now, my problem with this film alone, yes, you can sit there and whine and cry and all you fucking want.
What the fuck?!
I feel like that when it came to trying to, I guess, develop these characters and give them more, I guess, oomph in their, like, backstory, it was a good attempt for some of them. Some of them worked. Some of them felt like, why did we need this? Some of them was like, a lot of unnecessary scenes were in this film as well, I feel like, which probably made the film a lot longer than it should have been. I feel like I probably could cut out at least 30 minutes out of this movie and then take those scenes that I cut out, put them film back together, and it would still be an average Star Wars film. With the idea of them trying to go in a different direction instead of, a copy and paste rehash, I give them credit for trying to do that. My overall rating, I would have to go with a 7 with this one as well. Basically saying it's average, but I feel like there hasn't been really any improvements to the story so far.
Honestly surprised. My projected rating from you that I thought you were going to give it was a 4.5.
This movie's kind of iffy. What I mean by that is, make a joke early in the movie, hi, my lightsaber. Ha 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 ha. After that, this movie is very weird. Like, has a very weird emotional feel to just the entire movie. That's not in any other Star Wars movie, or very few movies that I've seen. It's a very, forced emotional. Like, you need to feel sad, or feel weird, or feel awkward, just throughout literally the entire movie. It's really weird. It's just like when we reviewed the old Godzilla movie. It's just like forced acting, like, oh look, a gumball, oh look, a lot of fish, oh look, a giant lizard. It's the same, it's like, oh look, a bad guy, oh look, a good guy, oh look, a fight, oh look, they're upset at each other. The storytelling's just kind of choppy and weird. It has weird plot holes. So from the last one to this one, that just like, C-3PO's arm is fixed. Everybody's chasing everybody all of a sudden. And there's like really weird clicks. How does Rey get off the ship? It doesn't show that. All of a sudden now she's on the Millennium Falcon. Just like weird blips. But they could have put that in there. It's just a long movie and they put so much, it seems like unneeded stuff, that they could have put a little blip of her like escaping. And her on the SS Apple Pie.
Can I put an interjection real
Millennium
quick?
Falcon.
I kind of feel like where you're
And her off of it.
I feel like where you're coming from on that, and from like the start of this film and the end of the last one, is that you're probably going into this film as just like the movies itself, whereas they explain it in the comments and stuff. So like,
Well, that's what I'm
if
saying
you
is-
don't read the comments and go from episode 7 to episode 8, and you have no
Yes,
idea what
but
goes
that's what I'm
on,
saying. It,
then that
as a
makes sense.
standalone movie, as a movie series, they should have explained a couple of things, and that's what I mean. Is
No.
It's
So there's a couple.
no.
Hold on. There's a couple
Let me
things.
talk first, then you can share. What I mean is, as a movie, if I was a person who didn't watch Star Wars and I'm like, oh cool, Star Wars is back on, time to watch a movie. Like, go to the next movie, like, wait a second. I would naturally be like, what the heck happened to his arm? Because they made a big deal about it last time. Hey, you probably can't recognize it. It's my
That's
red
not
arm.
how Star Wars works.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. Is I'm taking it, I'm reviewing it the way we said. And so if you add any extra, which you guys tend to always add a bunch of extra, just makes it confusing, or extra, is that has nothing to do with the movie and the way I'm reviewing it right now. I didn't watch the comics. I watched the one movie, then I watched the second movie. There's no comics, there's no looking, there's no questioning. If I have to go online and say, why the frick does C-3PO not have a red arm anymore, that takes away from what the movie should have told in its storytelling. And so that breaks it down and gives it what I would call less points, or like cinema sins. It gives it a sin. Other thing about the movie, weird science stuff. I already explained in our last review that, you know, there are things that have to exist. There has to be light speed and all this stuff like that. Not necessarily plot armor, but I mentioned if you go at light speed, any little speck of anything will destroy your ship. They added a little bit of that science. Lady turns the ship around and blasts through the other ships, destroys them. And you can just see it because she goes in a straight line. And even though she blows from the first ship, energy from her shoots out in different directions like lightning and cracks into all the other ships. So that science is sound. The science that's not sound is humanoid Leia gets blasted out into space and then doesn't instantly freeze to death, yet pulls herself back in.
Force healing.
Force healing?
Uh-huh.
Well, she can't force heal herself if she's
She's
force
dead.
frozen dead in space.
She's just dead.
But that's not what I'm saying.
The
It's-
Force
It would have done it.
surrounds all of us. She has what's known as Force plot armor. It is one
No,
of the
no.
most bullshit
Force-
moments in the movie.
Force plot armor. If they didn't, you don't like. I'm gonna actively do some stupid shit just so I can
No,
activate.
she didn't do it.
So I can
The Force
no shush. It's like saying I'm gonna actively throw the basketball over here so I can use the Force to dunk it. That if she was supposed to not die, then she could have just escaped and closed the door. That whole
No.
scene. What I'm saying is that whole scene was unnecessary. She could have stepped through the doors as a blast hit her, and she hit her head on the ground and was just as unconscious as when she come into the space thing. It was an
That's not true.
unneeded scene where they added confusing stuff that doesn't make sense in the world of what we know as science, space, the way things are supposed to work, why people wear helmets, and it's a weird thing that can't be explained. That's why this movie, as a movie, I want to give it like a 4.5, a 5.5, because not because it was boring, not because it was not action packed. It was interesting. It was action packed, but the acting was clear. But the way that the story was told was choppy. The way they threw in random things, the weird vibe to it. What I mean by vibe is this: it's super intense. Everybody's gonna die. We're just gonna go and read for 5 minutes and relax for 5 minutes and like look at some poker chips and walk around confused and then impending doom. Then go back to pause and quiet and calm and impending doom. You guys have a problem with
No.
me taking?
No, I'm not laughing because you're explaining. I'm not laughing because you're explaining. I'm enjoying the fact that you're explaining your thoughts and everything.
Is this making your rating go lower, Dylan?
No,
No,
it's
I'm
making
trying
them rage.
to remember the things I'm trying to correct you on, but your tangents are distracting my mind.
And I'm laughing
Then stop.
because I've just been
Then do
silent
your
the
own
entire
independent
time.
review. This is my own independent review.
I'm trying to
of the
answer a
movies.
question that you presented.
Well, I don't have any questions. That's
You did. The stuff that you said didn't make sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying is
It doesn't make sense now. They did that on purpose because in the future they're going to answer that. They're
Well, then
doing
that's-
that on purpose.
Then that's okay. But right now, this movie you haven't seen. This movie just came out
And
in
they want
theaters.
people-
Just went to the movie, watched the movie. It doesn't seem like something that would be explained in the future.
And they want to
Another
people
thing
to be
that's
like,
weird is-
what's going on? Who's Snoke? Where's Snoke from?
No, that's
How
not-
did Leia be able to do all that bullshit? They're doing that on purpose.
Well, that's not what I'm mentioning. I'm mentioning the weird, stupid shit like we're gonna go destroy gambling tables and we're gonna go to this totally different place that didn't have to exist to make.
That was useless. I don't think that should have been.
That's what I'm
So-
saying. That's one. And so her
Yeah.
her being able to fly through, they could have done something else. I don't understand it. It was weird. It's the fact that it doesn't make any sense. It was kind of hard to watch because it was like the story kept me entangled in it, but it just the weird emotional vibe of it, the super serious, super calm, running out of time, we have all the time in the world. It was just weird. And Dylan's over here saying, "Man, I would like to talk."
All right,
So,
Krieger, the floor is all yours. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
as me
This
too.
movie is the weakest of all of the Star Wars movies ever made. This movie is completely out of place from the first movie we watched. It doesn't really align with the right things. And like, one thing that kind of annoyed me is the first one was like A New Hope. So next thing you think is going by the formula they set up with, it would be like Empire Strikes Back. It kind of was, but it was also like New Hope still, because Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys are winning mostly in this, and the good guys are just getting fucked up the whole movie. But they still have themes from A New Hope, like Obi-Wan Kenobi sacrificing himself. Not sacrifice himself, but becoming a Force ghost. Same thing with him. We talked about the similarities of that. It wasn't like its own movie. Another thing I didn't like, and this is out of the movie context that there was fallout, is there was a lot of people complaining about like representation in this film for LGBT. The Asian chick, there was an outroar after that happened that she didn't have more screen time than what she had, and it didn't show her as a more prominent queer character that was able to be more overshadowing compared to other characters. There's outside fallout of the Star Wars community, and that was bad from that. Some themes were good about the film. This was the weakest for lightsaber battles. That's why I felt like they should have. It would have been cooler if he actually was there, and then he became a Force ghost. Because at least in A New Hope, there was a little bit of fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. There's no fight there. So
We did get the Snoke red suit people fight.
that was the Royal Guard.
The Royal Guard, yeah.
Just
Could've
like
been
if you remember watching the New Jet, the sixth one, there was a Royal Guard there that had the same kind of thing. They were keeping in line with the morality of
What
the
I'm saying
Empire.
is, we did get we got some laser sword battle, but we
Very
didn't get
short,
enough
though.
laser sword
It was
battle.
like very, very, very short scenes compared to what we had in the last one that had several really good ones. I remember always hating the thing that they're doing with Snoke. At this time, we don't know what's going on with Snoke or who he is. He just looks like a throwaway character. And if he's such masterful about reading minds and being able to make these connections, how come he couldn't tell there's that lightsaber right there? He should have been aware of that. That was completely obvious. Like how he could sense how Kylo Ren was conflicted the entire time, and then the second that he was still conflicted, he was like, he has resolve. He's going to kill you. It's like,
Well, he was correct. He's turning the lightsaber. He's killing his enemy. Is it like
By the way-
she can only see like a shadow of the existence, and so he can only see a shadow of his enemy. It's like, oh, he's killing his enemy. He's like, oh wait, that's me.
By the way, a little tidbit. This film was the highest grossing film of all of 2017. The budget was $200 million and it grossed $1.333 billion. So, overall, from the movie alone, they made about $700 million.
I wonder if it's because of the hype from the first one. People are like, oh, it's bad. No way, it's bad. I gotta go see it in theaters and prove it's not bad. Oh, nope, it is bad.
Their merch sales actually dipped a little bit after this came out. But watching it again, I was like, wow, this isn't as bad as I remembered it. Because, yeah, it's still bad, but it's not as bad as I remember it. So I'm gonna put it at a 6.5. I don't think it deserves a 7, because 7 is decent. I don't think it's decent. It's right below decent for me.
To kind of wrap things up, this review and everything, final thoughts and whatnot, the one final thought I want to bring up that you might know more about is that why did the critics rate this to be like some godly amazing movie, but the fans like canned it?
Well, because this had a lot of representation for minorities and
I figured that was one of the focal points.
that's what the bias of Rotten Tomatoes and critics are.
And my
Really
last
good
final
critic.
thought is that like the reason why I gave it a 7, like the last film, is like
The last film had more lost characters in it.
I mean, see, like, it's just like the two films together, like, they're both, I feel like I just get this, I think my issue with this trilogy is that from start to finish in this the first one, start to finish this one, I don't get excitement. I don't feel I feel like there's like no energy in these movies for me to go, oh fuck yes, 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 like I did with the other 6 movies. It's just I don't feel that energy.
Seven.
I myself in this.
Yeah, the 7
I'm talking about who cares about no the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. Like it's just with this trilogy here, I don't feel that same energy. I don't feel that same drive. It just feels like, oh, here's another one.
Probably because you watched them when you were a kid, and that was part of your childhood, and now you're an adult, and life is disappointing.
It's not really it.
We've all given our things. I think we're just bantering at this point.
I mean, those aren't your final thoughts, really. But
All right, well, join us on our next review. We will be able to conclude
this is going to
the
be
story of Skywalker.
This is going to be make or break for me. Trust me.
Mike was excited.